Who Owns Brighton is a community research project looking at what's happening in the city around development, who's it for, who wins, who loses, where does the money come from and where does it go? And very importantly, what can we as citizens do about changing some of those outcomes?
Our aim was to develop a community-led research methodology which would give people tools, knowledge and skills to kind of look at and scrutinise different aspects of the planning and development process and different points at which they could intervene and mobilise.
So we decided it was really important to try out our methodology in a particular site. And the site that was chosen is Circus Street, which is a development in the centre of Brighton. There were lots of promises and lots of kind of ideas around Circus Street as becoming a very lively neighbourhood. It's really anything but that.
I feel like there's a lot of potential, but it didn't blossom. It hasn't blossomed. It's not vibrant. The units are empty, the retail units, which is a real shame.
We ran a series of workshops where we had experts come along to talk about the different aspects of the development process, to sort of demystify those essentially, and so that people could learn like how does planning work, how does development finance work, how do the decisions get made in the local authority, for example, how can you go online and find out who owns things, you know, where does the money come from, where does it go, and then people got interested in various bits of that, and then they formed groups together, and then we sort of oversaw that process as they went away and investigated those parts of the development process.
The project was just run in such a kind of friendly way. It was really easy to be involved. It kind of started with workshops. So kind of giving everyone a chance to get to know each other and to get a feel for what being a community researcher would be like.
The involvement of the University of Sussex was very much facilitated through the Sussex CoLab. The CoLab is all about developing these kind of participatory methodologies that bring university actors together with community groups, with residents around different topics that are of resonance to local people.
For most people in Brighton, there is an acute housing crisis. It's an expensive place to buy, it's a very expensive place to rent. There's lots of people on the housing register, so there's a shortage of supply of social housing. And really, housing is a key, fundamental thing for so many people's lives, and people are being pushed out.
The commercial housing in Circus Street was through shared ownership schemes, which are meant to be affordable housing schemes. And the things that we learned, they absolutely aren't. And there's a large debate, especially around kind of service fees and the way that service fees are not capped and have been massively increasing, really trapping people in these properties.
We had councils that were committed to affordable housing. They talked about the importance of affordable housing. There are policies that say, 40% of the housing that's being built needs to be affordable, and yet every single new development in the city was not producing that policy compliant issue, let alone more.
One of the things that really emerged from the research was the gap between what is being promised by developers and architects with their fantastic drawings before any development happens, and the reality, which really is quite different, right? We have quite empty commercial spaces that are not contributing to the economic regeneration of the area. We have public spaces that are really quite lifeless and empty. So one of the things we have been thinking about and want to propose is some kind of a post-development assessment and audit that really the council looks like what's the difference between what is being promised and what is being delivered, and what can be done if that gap is really big, to make sure that developments are really delivering on the promises they are making.
I think it's created solidarities between people, which is really important, and it's kind of inspired people to go on and want to focus around a certain thing, so mobilise maybe around a certain site or around policy change, or around all the different ways that change can kind of be enacted on the ground.
Well, we very much come from the position that actually in order to change this, and in order to change this within our city, we need to be having those sometimes difficult, sometimes critical, but constructive conversations across different sectors and different industries. but also bringing in some of the other bodies, some of the other kind of stakeholders in that aspect of development in the city. So obviously we've got the 2 universities who are supporting the project.
It really made me realize the contribution that universities can have in their local communities, producing these tools, empowering people to learn about what's happening, to unpack some of these really complicated processes, and then to take action on that. Through the University of Brighton, we have actually submitted a large research grant to the ESRC to scale the project across all of Brighton, and to also put together a website to share the findings much more widely beyond Brighton. So the hope is that this is really something that can be of help to people in other cities who similarly want to understand what's happening there.